Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. Omar, a Democrat from Minnesota, one of two new members of the House of Representatives, and one of the first two female Muslim members of Congress. Now, it's very interesting what has been going on here. It's not surprising that her views given Israel by most politicians, Democrats and Republicans. Now note I said Israel and not Jewish people. However, there's a tendency to equate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. They're not the same. However, when Congresswoman Omar put out this tweet, it's all about the Benjamins, baby, commenting on this tweet from journalist Glenn Greenwald. Okay, this is the tweet. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy threatens punishment for Ilhan, MN, and Rashida Tlaib over their criticisms of Israel. It's stunning how much time U.S. political leaders spend defending a foreign nation, even if it means attacking free speech rights of Americans. So she tweets, it's all about the Benjamins. Huge uproar. Folks begin to condemn her, saying she's playing into this whole view that Jews control politics because of money. Now, remember, all about the Benjamins. Critics say it was anti-Semitic, played into anti-Semitic tropes about Jews and money. Now, Congresswoman Omar issued what she described as an unequivocal apology. This came after, though, after Democratic leadership blasted her for the tweets. She wrote, listening and learning, but standing strong. Anti-Semitism is real, and I am grateful for Jewish allies and colleagues who are educating me on the painful history of anti-Semitic tropes. My intention is never to offend my constituents or Jewish Americans as a whole. I unequivocally apologize. At the same time, I reaffirm the problematic role of lobbyists in our politics, whether it be AIPAC, which is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, the NRA, or the fossil fuel industry. It's gone on too long, and we must be willing to address it. Now, for Republicans, they obviously want to distract from all the drama with Trump and his wall. They continue to attack her. Trump now says she should resign from Congress. Yeah, the same guy who said there were fine people on both sides of Charlottesville. The white supremacists have screamed at the rally, Jews will not replace us. And Mercedes Schlapp, of the White House communications shop, had trouble explaining Trump's position on CNN.
The president similarly called for the resignation of Congressman Steve King, who, as you know, defended in public comments white nationalism. Will he call for his resignation?
Yeah, I have to say that Congresswoman Omar's comments are horrific. I mean, the mere fact that we know that anti-Semitism has no place in Congress, the mere fact that she's attacked the Jewish people, that she's attacked the state of Israel, that then she goes and has a continual pattern of this is very disturbing. And it is why he called for not only her resignation, but for resigning from the Foreign Affairs Committee. You know, the president was critical of Steve King. He applauded Congress when they took action to strip him from his committee position. And in essence, we don't have, there's no room for anti-Semitism. There is no room for white nationalism remarks coming from any of these members of Congress.
Fair enough, but then why not hold Steve King to the same standard? I mean, he's repeated,
Look, we were very tough on Steve
Nazi
King.
comments, retweeted them. He's talked about white nationalism.
But when you look at Congresswoman Omar and her comments, I mean, they're appalling.
Now, this was interesting. Vice President Mike Pence also wants her to be punished. It is the same guy who said that he was proud to serve in the House with white nationalist Congressman, Republican Steve King of Iowa. And House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is one of her harshest critics, but he tweeted this during the midterm campaign. We cannot allow Soros, Steyer, and Bloomberg to buy this election. Get out and vote Republican November 6th, #MAGA. Bloomberg, Soros, and Steyer are all Jewish. I'm not quite sure I understand the difference between the McCarthy and Omar tweets. Joining us right now is Women's March organizer Linda Sarsour. So Linda, it was interesting here. Greenwald is tweeting about Republicans and Democrats constantly criticizing anybody who criticizes Israel. She says all about the Benjamins. Well, we understand about donations. So how all of a sudden is that anti-Semitic when she's talking about the influence on politics?
I mean, this whole debate, Roland, has been absolutely outrageous and ludicrous, especially in light of real anti-Semitism, particularly anti-Semitism that is violent, that killed 11 innocent Jewish worshippers in Pittsburgh, a man who was inspired by this administration and by white nationalism. The bottom line here is that Ilhan was not saying anything wrong. What she was trying to say, and maybe to our Jewish allies, she could have used better words, is reaffirming the role of lobbyists in our political discourse and in the way in which we do politics. We do it all the time, Roland. We went after the NRA, the Women's March, went and protested the NRA. We talk about fossil fuel industry. We talk about big pharmaceuticals. But for some reason, the minute you even dare or have the audacity to go after Israel or to critique the state of Israel for their human rights violations against Palestinians, it gets equated with anti-Semitism. But it's part of a pattern. So I didn't look at the incident with Ilhan Omar as something that was a standalone incident. I'm thinking about Mark Lamont Hill and CNN. I'm thinking about Angela Davis and the rescinding of her award, which I know they're giving her it again. I'm looking at the harsh criticism and backlash that Michelle Alexander got for writing in the New York Times. I'm thinking about the criticism that Tamika Mallory of the Women's March has received. It is a pattern of going after particularly Black intellectuals and Black leaders who have the audacity to say that what the state of Israel is doing to Palestinian people is wrong, and calling out the influences of lobbies like AIPAC. That's really, for me, the bottom line of what was happening here.
Well, and also Ryan Grimm wrote a piece where Al Jazeera had done an undercover investigation, hidden camera, but they chose not to air it, but eventually it got out there, where they actually had this hidden video of several organizations, one organization where they were caught on tape saying, we control politicians with money. And so the problem here is that if you render any criticism of Israel, it's automatically anti-Semitic. And so it's like an automatic brushback of any criticism that you render. If you choose to say that the Palestinian people should also be able to live peacefully in their own country, anti-Semitic. And it's as if we can't actually have a conversation about another country and the fact that Americans, that billions of American tax dollars also goes to that country. It's as if we can't have a discussion.
And what's even more interesting, Roland, is that, for example, when I critique, or you and others critique, the Saudi Arabia for their human rights violations against the Saudi people and their ways in which they subjugate women there, and the war on Yemen, that they are literally engaging in an onslaught war on Yemen, killing little Yemeni babies. When we critique the state of, when we critique Saudi Arabia, no one says it's Islamophobic because Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country. And what's actually anti-Semitic is trying to equate the entire Jewish people in the world with Israel. Not all Jewish people are Zionists. Not all Jewish people are pro-Israel. Like, the Jewish people are diverse. They are Black, they are white, they are Eastern European, there are converts to Judaism. There's Arab Jews, many of whom lived with the Palestinian people and coexisted there for hundreds of years. So this idea that Israel is synonymous with the Jewish people in of itself is anti-Semitic, and no one calls that out. And what I know about Ilhan Omar, and I know her personally, is she is a woman who came out of war. She came here to the United States as a refugee. She moved up the ranks as a Black refugee and became a member of Congress. And today, Roland, she was back to work. She was holding Elliot Abrams accountable for war crimes. She was holding him accountable to the war crimes that have been committed in Central America in places like Guatemala. She is not fazed by this. The real problem here is they already were outraged that a Black Muslim woman, refugee from Somalia, found herself on the Foreign Relations Committee. And they do not want women or anyone who's critical of the state of Israel on that committee. She has specifically critiqued Saudi Arabia and has talked about the largest arms deals and our complicity in the war in Yemen. And the Saudi government has went after her. She is unbossed, and we have to give her grace. I mean, I'm watching people today defending a tweet that came out of the Israeli government about war on Iran, and people saying, well, no, there was a bad translation. I don't think that that's what they meant. If you have the opportunity to defend a war criminal like Netanyahu, but you can't find the same grace for a black Muslim congresswoman who could have used better words, that is absolutely hypocritical. And for me personally, I stand unequivocally with Ilhan. I know her heart, and we need to stand with her as a woman of color in Congress.
All right, letting this Sarsour. We surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment.
All right, folks, a word from one of our partners. Are you desperate for a good night's sleep? Man, I should have done this last night because I could not go to sleep. Then listen up. Studies show lack of sleep causes stress, irritability, weight gain, and even early death. But you already know how bad it is when you don't get enough sleep. And you try sleeping pills with their annoying and potentially dangerous side effects. Maybe you wasted money on the latest miracle pillow that promises a good night's sleep, but that's all BS. If you've done all of that, here's a solution. It's convenient, inexpensive, has zero side effects. So if you want to experience deep, restful sleep, starting tonight, visit www.sleepmusic.com. Now, this weird little known trick is already helping thousands of people around the world experience better sleep, deeper rest, and happier mornings. And with a full 90-day money-back satisfaction guarantee, what have you got to lose? All you got to do is visit sleepmusic.com to see how this amazing sleep solution can help you. And just use the promo code RADIO to get $10 off. Just go to www.sleepmusic.com and use the promo code RADIO to get $10 off. And so, trust me, I'll be trying that tonight because I ain't getting much sleep last night. All right.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.